Right, so we're going to talk a little bit about why GM is shutting down their manufacturing on Chevy Cruze. I guess it's still going to go through. I don't know. I haven't really been able to see. Some of you guys have watched my review on that car, and it's actually a really well engineered car. It's actually, they did a great job on that part of it. But I think this is this is really my theory on this stuff, and I'm pretty much think I'm right on this. And what it goes back to is a thing called the chicken tax back in the 60s, where there was a problem with, I don't know, Europe buying our chickens, and so they put a tax on light trucks from Germany to U.S. So from Germany, France, I mean, basically most of Europe to the U.S. And so what that enabled GM and Ford to do is not to have to compete with the Germans and the French on trucks. So this is one of the reasons that U.S. trucks are there's so many of them in the U.S. now. And like even Mercedes had trouble importing the van that they have. So what they do is they send it over here in pieces and they actually assemble it in South Carolina. So this is kind of how that works. And the reason, I'm going to get back to the Cruze in just a second, but you have to understand the reason that that's good for them or whatever, and I don't think it's really very good. I think it's kind of a cheating way to do things, is they can be kind of lazy on their basically running a car company is about penny pinching. I mean, it's about every little small thing that you do on that manufacturing that can save money in the end can make the price of the car come down thousands of dollars. So they don't have to compete on those vehicles. So why would they, with cars, when they've got, companies like Toyota and Nissan, Honda, Hyundai making cars, those cars, those guys are better at penny pinching. Okay. They're better at looking at every dollar where it's being spent and getting it, figured out. I mean, was their engineering better? Yeah, maybe. On some things like Toyota might have a little bit better engineering because they're able to penny pinch and engineer. It's kind of a balancing game between the two. And so GM and Ford have never, on the SUVs, don't have to do that. So what I'm thinking that they have figured is they figure, well, since we don't have to really compete on these, what we can do is we can make our markup on these and just drop these other lines and not have to put our energy into trying to compete. So it's really unfortunate though, because, cars like the Chevy Cruze is really not a bad car. I mean, I think it's pretty well engineered. Drove one, was really super happy with it. But, when it comes down to it, MSRP, okay, so can they compete with whatever other lines are out there? I don't know which ones exactly compete with the Chevy Cruze. I think it's the Corolla or something like that. But I think the Corolla is a little bit smaller. Well, maybe it isn't. The Elantra, Corolla, and some of the others, are quite a bit. Maybe they're less expensive, or even the Volkswagen Jetta. I think it's actually less expensive if you get the base model, and with the 1.4 liter, which is very competitive as far as I'm concerned with the Chevy Cruze. Very similar, but of course the Volkswagen drives a lot better, but it does have probably higher maintenance costs. I mean, in reality, they haven't been very good at getting rid of maintenance. They're more, making lots of it. So they got to make money somewhere, I guess. The dealers, in the parts, that side of it, they make money doing that. So instead of they either make money on the purchase of the car, they make money on the parts. Everybody's got to make money. So really, the sad thing is is the reason that they're doing that is basically because they don't have to compete. You know, they can sell, and the thing is SUVs are actually, if you look here, let's do the pause here for a second. Here's a Wikipedia article on chicken tax. I knew about this already. If you look here, as far as wiki goes, the SUV is a truck, so it's built on a truck chassis. So I'm not sure how they get, like Mercedes SUVs and things like that approved in America to not have to pay the chicken tax, or maybe they just build them here. I'm not sure, but if you see, they do not have to compete on those vehicles. So SUVs, they're going to keep making them. They're going to keep making the, anything built on a truck chassis because, again, they have a 25% tariff. I mean, can you imagine that? I mean, you got a nice fat 25% markup that you can make against the competitors. I mean, how they're going to lose, So anyway, that's kind of cheating, in my opinion. It's just cheap. And, the American companies are getting away with it because that's what they do. They don't have to do the work, and part of it's because labor cost is higher here. Part of it's because management, and they're not able to. I mean, because Toyota's able to do it. I mean, they're able to compete, and so and they actually manufacture them here too. But GM and Ford, and Dodge, they they're not able to really compete, so they're dropping a lot of their car lines. So makes sense. That's why. Anyway, talk to you in the next video. Please like, share, and subscribe.